Hello everyone, this is Nikita and thank you for joining me in this video. So this video is an extension of my previous videos on integration. So we have discussed about service packages, service REST and exception handling for GET method. So this particular video I would discuss service REST for POST method. So I hope this would be useful to you because we would be creating a service REST with the POST method from scratch. We would create the request and response properties and see how it works when we use it in our service REST. So that would be our motto, to have it all clear, to do it from the very basic. Okay. So let's just jump into our video and create our service REST. Okay. So first of all, let's understand my requirement. So our requirement is that there is a case in PEGA, already there onboarding case in PEGA. So now what we have to do is we have to update the number of equipments which is there in the case already. Okay, so that is the requirement. So since it is a post method, let me tell you what is actually a post method. So you are since we are service, so PEGA is a service here. So some external system is going to come with a request to update something in our application. Something can be anything, but here my scenario is there is a case which is there in PEGA, and the external system want me to update the property number of equipment with the value which they have provided. So that is the requirement. So let me show you how the payload looks. So this is what the payload is. It shows me the number of equipment, it gives me the number of equipment and the PYID. PYID is the case ID which I told you already. So let's see how we start with it. Okay, first of all, request and response classes. So request class should have these two properties, right? Number of equipment and PYID, that is for sure, right? So now one thing can be, either you can just create a request class and create these two new properties in the class. Okay, so that would become your request class. But another option can be, you can reuse the class which is already there in PEGA, which is already there in your application, and it has these properties. So let me see if I have any such class, onboarding class. So let me see what all property it has. It has number of equipment at least, that's for sure. And PYID will always be there because it is a PEGA out of the box class. In work it would always be there. So that's not a problem. So I can reuse this onboarding class for my request, right? Okay. So that is solved. Now coming to first of all, where should I create my service REST, right? We will have to create somewhere my service REST. So let me just create it for you first. Update equipment details. Okay, service package name. Either you can give the old package which you already have, or you can give some your new package also. You can create a new package and you can give it there. Let me check first if I have some service package which I can use here. Okay, so I have this test package already there, so let me use that. Okay, service version, let it be v1. What is the URI template which you want to give? I want to give it as update equipment. Okay, it would create some identifier. Okay, so let's create it. Now first of all, what is the work class which you want to give it here? I want to give it as equipment class. I have created another equipment class altogether, so I'm using that equipment class. I can show you here. Okay, so this is my work equipment class. I want to have my service REST running there. Okay, so that is my class. Now the other things, the request and response classes, right? So as I told you, I want to have my request class. I don't want to create a new request class. I can reuse the onboarding one. Okay, but first of all you need to have that request property, which is a page property stored somewhere, and it should always be in the same class where your service rest is. So since my service rest is in equipment class, I need to create a request property, request underscore post property inside the equipment class. So let's create it. Now coming to the type, it is a page. Okay, so now what it would refer to, basically you need to give a page definition. In that page definition, or whatever the class you give it here, all the properties inside that class would automatically be like can be used in the this class or this property, since it is a page property. Okay, so we need to give some page definition to it, or we need to specify some class, okay, which it will inherit. So in my scenario, as I told you, I'm using the onboarding class. Let me give it here. Okay, save it. So request post done. You can also go to here and check whether your request property is showing here. So let me go. Great. So your request property is created. You see now equipment, number of equipment, status, all these were there in the onboarding class. So basically we are referring it here. That's done. So request post is done. Now coming to response. So response is something where you will have some properties related to the response. So let's not have it in the same class where you're keeping all the request property. Okay, it's better to create a new class for storing my response properties. Okay, so what you can do is you can create a response class. So this is my onboarding class. Let me save as this and create a response class. Okay. So it is saying that it already exists. Let me see if okay. So it already exists. I have already created, no problem. So this is my response class. Great. So now this response class need to have some properties. Let me see if I already have some property. No. So let me create some property in the response class. So what it should have, first of all, okay, it can have something called status. Let's use that. Okay, it would be a text property. Okay, so this is done. Request done, response done. Let's now have my service REST configured. This is my service REST. Okay, so this is my service REST. Now we will need to know the request and response property. So let's give it here. Map to would be JSON and it would be request post. Okay, here you can write it as request, not a problem. Coming to the response part. Response part, what you will need to give here, it is a JSON. Now response post. So did I create my response property? Let me check. Okay, so this is a request, but I have not created my response. So let's create it. So this is response post. It should be a page property. Now what will I give it as page definition? I just created a new class, right? So that was my onboarding response class. So this was my class. Save it here. Great. So now request and response both are created. Let me check. Great. Response is also there. I see status. Now what else need to be done? Yeah, right. So now what you have to do is you have to specify your response property. Great. Give this save it. What is left? I have created my classes, I have created my properties, what was required. Now the important part is having the service activity configured. So let's do it. Update number of equipment. Okay. Okay. So now let's start with creating the different scenario. First is page. Okay. So case page, then we will also need some case list also. I will show you why we need it, but yes, we need it. Now, first of all, what request we are getting from the external system, right? Whatever properties we are getting, we need to store it somewhere. We need to store it somewhere so that we can use it in my activity, right? So the service will store that request property in the primary page. You can use that. Request post. Now, what are the different property which I'm getting? Number of equipment. What else? I'm also getting the PYID, right? That's it. So let me store it in some param. Okay. Okay. So at least this important thing is done. Okay. First, let's save it in pages and classes as well. Okay. Now, okay. So now I have saved the request property. Next step is I need to find that case which has to be updated. How will I find it? This is one of the case in the onboarding class, right? So you need to browse it in your onboarding class. Okay. So you need to browse. Okay. In which class I need to browse? Onboarding class, right? First of all, give the case list page. In this page, my data from the table will come, right? When we are OBJ browsing, we will get the data from the table, from the work table here, right? So that would be stored in the case list. Now class. So I know that it is an onboarding class. I can directly give the class name here. But the best practice is you need to first find that class and save it in a param and then use it inside OBJ class. Okay. So param dot class. I know it is directly onboarding class. Okay. Use it here. The other thing can be you can create a DSS or application setting and save your class name there and refer it through a like either you can create a data page, okay, and have a data transform which is getting the value from application settings and then use it. For simplicity, now I am just hard coding the class value, but we would cover that in some other video surely. Okay. So let's use that here. Max record. Obviously, with one case ID, I will get only one record. Max record is 1 always. Now, what is the filter criteria? Okay. Filter criteria would be the PYID should be equal to this param, which I got it from my request. Correct? Any doubts? No. I mean, there shouldn't be any doubt, but if there is any doubt, let me know in comment. Okay, so this is OBJ browse. Now, after OBJ browse, you will get the value, right? So you will get it from you will get it inside this case list, right? Okay. So now what you have to do is basically you need to open that class instance to update it. Okay, you need to update the property and you cannot update the property until you open the case, acquire the lock and then commit it, right? So you need to do an obj open. Now obj open, for obj open, you need to know the class and then you need to know the ID. Best is, let me use obj open by handle. For obj open by handle, you need to know the PEGA key. So PEGA key, for that, let me try to fetch it directly from here, because otherwise I cannot get the PEGA key, right? So now I got the PEGA key. So this value would be stored inside the case list page and under that px result, right? So basically you will get it inside case list dot px results of 1, since I have only one record, and then PEGA key. Got it? Now you need to lock it, then you need to release and commit. Okay. So, but where will you store, where will you have the obj open by handle retrieving the value to? Okay. You need to have a page. Let me use this page. Okay. So now in this page, you will have all the values inside that case, right? All the properties. After you have opened it, now you need to update the property, right? So let's use property set. Okay, property set, and you need to update the property. What is the property name? Okay, first of all, let me see if I have given the correct. Okay, so it should be onboarding class, not equipment class. Okay, so let's change it here. Okay, so now what I was saying is you need to change the number of equipment property. That's what was the requirement. Okay, and what value I should assign? I should assign whatever I got in the payload. This is the thing. Done. What is the next step? Next step is committing it or doing the obj save. Let me use right now for now. Okay, for saving, which page I should save? Case page. Done. Now what is the next step? I have done everything which is required, like to have that updated. But now when the other external system has given us a payload that, you know, I want this to be updated, I need to update and then give them back a response that, yeah, I have updated, or no, I have not updated because I got some error. They can be anything, right? So let's first now save the response. Okay, so response is also would be in the primary page, primary dot response underscore post. And what is my response? And like, first of all, in which property you will set? I will set it in status. Status is done or success. Okay, looks good. After doing all of these things, you need to test this out. Let's do that. Okay, run it. Give your payload and then trace it. Okay, so for tracing it, let me trace this activity. To see this out. Okay. Wow, I got a success. Fine. So let's me pause this. Let's see if any failure has occurred. No, I think everything is fine. You got a page new, you did a obj browse, and then you have opened the case. Let me open this case page. In the end case page, you should get everything. Let me see. So let's see if the case is correct, like whatever we fetched is correct. 04001. Perfect. So now you need to see if your page has the correct number of equipment. Yeah, so it's 1. So this is correct, right? So what else? Response has been set or not? Yeah, you can see it here, right? That status is success. So it has gone fine. So this was about how to use the post method in PEGA. I have not done exception handling here because that we would cover in the next video. But I hope you are clear on the requirement and how we should start. How we should start by creating the request class, response class, then creating the service activity, then doing the changes in your service rest to it to work. So I hope this was useful. See you again in my next video. Till then, stay safe, take care, bye bye.